Welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's good to see you again. In today's video, we are going to be covering a subject which I'm hoping you're going to find super useful. There are a lot of common myths and misconceptions about Microsoft 365, Office 365, whatever it's been called over the years. In this video, we're going to try and debunk some of those myths and tell you the truth. Stick around, it's coming right up. But before you do that, if you've not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that button right now. Hit the notifications bell as well so you never miss a video, and check out the join button too so you can become a member of the channel and get access to members only content. Right, housekeeping done, let's get to it. Number one, Microsoft 365 is just Office applications. Many people think that M365 only contains Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint. In reality, it contains so much more. Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, all sorts of things are baked into Microsoft 365. It's all about enhancing productivity and collaboration. We have got things like Loop, we've got things like Copilot coming into play in recent times, and we've also got new features being added to all of these things all the time. Just look at Copilot Pages, which I'm still waiting for. Come on, Microsoft, give that to me in one of my tenants, I beg you. But that is such a common myth from the early days, even to now. People who have not yet adopted Where Have You Been, if so, don't realize just how much is under the hood of the Microsoft 365 platform. Check it out for yourself. You might be surprised. Number two, Microsoft 365 is too expensive for small businesses. There is that misconception that Microsoft 365 is prohibitively expensive. However, it offers various plans and pricing tailored to different business needs, often providing significant cost savings through integrated tools and services. I think the most well-known 365 plans are the E3 and E5 stacks. Those are the ones that the biggish sized businesses always seem to have, but there is so much choice. You can sign up with just an Exchange Online license if you want to. You can get Office 365 Business, you can get Microsoft 365 Business Premium, which you can get for up to 300 users before you have to look at the E-plans. Business Premium comes with all sorts of good stuff like conditional access, sensitivity labeling, and so much more. You can chop and change, you can add, you can get flexible licensing methods like CSP with a Microsoft partner of your choice like Insight, where I work. There literally is so much choice. There is a plan for everyone. So do look at those plans. Do look at how you can add things as you need them, like SharePoint Premium, like Teams Premium. If you need certain things, you may not need to go right for that full M365 E3. You can go Office 365 E3, and perhaps with enterprise mobility and security added on to that as well. There are so many different ways for you to get what you need, and I always call Microsoft 365 like having a box of Lego bricks, and you really do have that choice. You can open up your box of Lego, you can take out the bricks that you want and build what you want. So it really is that flexible, and it's not going to be necessarily too expensive for your business. So do not rule it out. Do check it out. Number three, you need an internet connection to use Microsoft 365. Now, this is somewhat true. Some features like Teams, for example, do require that constant internet connectivity. Core applications like Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint can be used offline. Documents can be saved locally and then synced back up to the cloud when you're back online. If you have an email that you're composing in your Microsoft Outlook, you can have that saved in your drafts and it will go when you are back online. OneDrive is a great way of synchronizing your content from those cloud applications, and you can view files and folders in a traditional way, like you used to back in the days of file shares on your servers. You can view them in folders on your Mac device, on your Windows device, and they are offline copies which are then synchronized to the cloud when you have that online connectivity. So there are multiple benefits of this. You can work in convenient and familiar ways, as you have done for 15, 20 plus years before the times of Microsoft 365, and you can get all the benefits of the cloud wrapped around that as well. So don't think that you have to have that constant internet connection to work with Microsoft 365. I have found when I've been sat on trains and it's been hard to get a connection that there are things that I can do. I can work on my Word documents. I can make changes, secure in the knowledge that when I do get connected to that flaky train Wi-Fi, or I can tether to my phone and get a connected symbol, then my changes are going to sync up, and I am comfortable in that fact. So there you go, another misconception debunked. Number 4, Microsoft 365 is not secure because it's a cloud service. Not true. Some believe that cloud solutions are less secure than on-premises solutions and traditional firewall methods. Microsoft 365 includes multiple layers of security measures, such as data encryption, advanced threat protection, and compliance certifications. Now, those of you that have watched this channel for some time will know that security, compliance, and identity is my happy place. This is what I like to talk about. And I am passionate about spreading the message that Microsoft security is a safe and good place to be. Sure, it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all for every organization. There are going to be times when you need to look at some other third-party solutions to wrap around your Microsoft 365 investment. But I know many organizations who place their trust, their end-to-end security story, in Microsoft 365 and Azure. And I've done a video on this quite recently, which I will link to in this video. You can rely on things in Microsoft 365 like email encryption. You can rely on that in Teams, end-to-end encryption as well. You have security features like Microsoft Defender for endpoint, for identity, for Internet of Things, for all sorts of things. Defender for cloud apps. We have compliance measures in Microsoft Purview like data loss prevention, like sensitivity labels, and retention labels and policies. And we have robust identity protection controls, starting with the very basics of Identity Protection 101, which is MFA. If you do nothing else, do MFA. And Microsoft 365 makes that easy, expanding out into things like conditional access and the ever-expanding offerings within Microsoft Entra. So definitely there are very effective ways to protect yourself with Microsoft 365 and get accurate alerting and reporting from within as well. And if you don't have the time or the money or the resources to do that in-house as an organization, then you can look to a managed service provider like Insight, where I work, to take all that off your hands with Microsoft Sentinel and a Security Operations Center or SOC. That burden can be outsourced and managed for you with regular alerts, regular touch points. We do a great job of that in Insight. So if you're an organization watching this, come and talk to us. Number 5, Microsoft 365 is only for larger enterprises. We've sort of touched on this one already with the second one, where we explained that it's often a misconception that it's too costly for small businesses. This kind of elaborates and expands on that point that Microsoft 365, despite costs, really is for everyone, and that it's not only large organizations and enterprises that can benefit. It's designed to be scalable and used by businesses of all types and sizes and variations and flavors, including small and medium-sized enterprises. And that really is the beauty of the Microsoft 365 platform. It can go as far or as little as you want it to, and it is compatible with any number of other integrations. You can make it work for you. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I'm very passionate about this particular message, that you can find your own Microsoft 365 story. If you're a very small business with only 2 or 3 or 4 users, then you can do Microsoft 365 of your flavor for your needs. You really don't have to be spending a lot of money on it. If you're a massive organization, a global conglomerate of multinational locations and complexities, then there's a Microsoft 365 story for you and that enterprise as well, and government as well. That's something we haven't touched upon. So it is really so scalable and so individual to the personal experience of that organization. And again, you've only got to look through the various licensing options out there for everyone to see that there's something there for you to choose. And Microsoft 365 is going to be competitive against some of those other options that you might be considering if you are a smaller business. And if you're a large enterprise, you will find your home here as well. If you're bang in the middle, there's something for you too. So don't rule it out thinking that you might not slot into a particular definition of what Microsoft's target market is for their cloud product, Microsoft 365. Number 6, Microsoft 365 is difficult to manage. Some believe that managing your Microsoft 365 environment is complex. It's true that there are a number of different admin centers, but over time these have definitely, in my opinion, become easier to use and integrate with each other, offering user-friendly admin tools and dashboards that simplify management tasks along with extensive support and resource. Take the Microsoft 365 Admin Center itself. This is your launch point. This is where you start getting to where you need to be. You can begin at admin.microsoft.com, and with the different levels of administrative privileges that you may have depending on your role and your needs, you will find from there exactly what you need to access and what you should be accessing. You can get right to, for example, as an Exchange administrator, you can get right to those user objects and see what level of access they have, what license they have. From the bottom left-hand corner, you can see all the other admin centers. You can get to the Exchange admin center and get right into there too and check out all of your mailboxes, user mailboxes, shared mailboxes, resource mailboxes, etc. It's easy to navigate around and carry out the activities that you need to do as whatever flavor of administrator you are. More admin centers can be found at that bottom left-hand corner. You can get to your Teams admin center to check out all of your Teams capabilities, ranging from Teams policies to Teams rooms and all that sort of stuff. You can get to the SharePoint admin center and create and manage your permissions, your sites, all of those settings in there. You can get to the Microsoft Purview Admin Center, the Microsoft Defender Admin Center. You really can navigate to anywhere you need to go right from that starting point of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. There are tools for those who are more comfortable on the command line as well. You can use PowerShell, you can use those Graph API connectors as well if you have that deeper, more coding level of a requirement that you need to use to carry out your day-to-day tasks and get what you need done within your Microsoft 365 canvas. So really, it doesn't have to be complex is what I'm saying here. If that is a misconception that you have, then know that it's not true. You can find, much like those Lego bricks again, of the licensing and the different flavors of investing in Microsoft 365, you can find that admin story that is right for you as well and find your happy place where you are comfortable and carrying out your work. There really is something for everyone there. So don't ever feel that it's going to be too complex. It's very, very easy to connect your Microsoft 365 cloud instance back to your on-premises as well. Hybrid is still a thing right now. It's going to be a thing for some time. Not everyone can have the privilege, the luxury, if you like, of being a born-in-the-cloud startup. Many organizations have got a long-term investment in their on-premises environment, legacy applications built into Active Directory. It's going to take some time to get all of that stood down and everything moved to the cloud. And there's rightly not too much of an ability or an appetite to do that immediately. So hybrid's going to be here to stay, and things like Entra ID Connect and Entra ID Cloud Sync enable you to connect those two things together in a very straightforward way. So that's got a lot easier over the time with a lot more options baked in. They introduced pass-through authentication as an alternative, a much more cost-effective alternative to ADFS, which is Active Directory Federation Services a few years back now. We've got Entra ID Cloud Sync, which again is even less of an infrastructure requirement. So check out what's available to you in terms of connecting those worlds together. Tenant to tenant syncs as well, tenant relationships. So much has happened over the last few years in terms of that connectivity, guest users, external users, and there's only ever going to be more to come. Microsoft are constantly making improvements, and you've only got to look at the Microsoft 365 roadmap to realize and acknowledge that. And finally, number 7, Microsoft 365 features and benefits may decrease over time. There is a fear that Microsoft might reduce features or benefits and take some things away from you that you've paid for over the years. Now, whilst pricing and features can change and evolve over time, Microsoft typically adds features and improvements regularly to enhance and improve the service. It's true that often you have to get your hand in your pocket again to get some access to these newer and cooler features. So Copilot being a classic example of that, I would say. But quite often some cool new features get added and baked into some of the existing SKUs like E3 and like E5. They're making constant improvements to features like insider risk management, for example, communication compliance. These are all things within Microsoft Purview that you can get access to with your E5 license, and they are improving all the time. It's very, very rare in my experience that Microsoft will take things away for you. It's not unheard of. SharePoint Premium could be argued to be an example of that, where there are things that were previously available to all, where you now need a SharePoint Premium license. But I think I have to say that that is the exception rather than the rule. I'm happy to be proved otherwise if there's things I've not considered or missed. But I think if you look across all of the Microsoft 365 admin centers that we've highlighted and discussed in this video today, that you will see things that have got better over time. If I look back to the very early days, for example, when I first started using what we commonly called Office 365 as a broad term in those days, it was a lot less easy to do very, very basic features and tasks at that time. An example of which was if you wanted to convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox with an Exchange Online, you had to do that in the PowerShell. You can still do that in the PowerShell to this day, but there's now a convenient button in the GUI in the Exchange Admin Center to convert to a shared mailbox. So things like that, little enhancements that often go unnoticed over time, I think, will creep in there. And because they're the sort of things that you feel like you should be taking for granted and maybe equivalents of you did take for granted back in the days before Office 365, where everything was just on premises, then it's easy for these to slip by and be unnoticed, and you'll see them there and think, oh, that's great, but I expect that. I don't see that as a bonus or a gift. That's just something that should be the bare minimum. So remember not to take everything for granted is what I'm saying sometimes, and check out that Microsoft 365 roadmap that will give you an idea of what's in development, what's being tested, what's being rolled out. There really is a massive list of things in there that Microsoft are adding as improvements all the time to the license SKUs that you already have, not as additional costs, not as new license SKUs. Is that guaranteed to stay the same forever? Absolutely not. There's been rumors for a good few years now about a super license SKU called E7. It's not materialized yet, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it lands at some point. I really wouldn't. But that's adding another option for larger enterprises who can afford to go for that, and if they need that, can do so. And for me, that's a good thing because it's enhancing that Microsoft security story. We're getting back to security again, and I'm very much on board for this Microsoft security journey. They're in that top right-hand corner of the quadrants and reports that people place a lot of stock in, and rightly so. They've earned that. They're not going to be happy until they've increased their stature and made even more improvements and impact in the area of security, and are taken more seriously against some of those more established players in the security industry. So it's got to be a good thing for organizations, larger enterprises all around who maybe want to have that eggs all in one basket, or the way I would describe it as simplification, less complexity, less points of failure. So I do think there is a very, very small argument for that statement, that misconception that Microsoft will take things away. Sure, they've done it on occasion, but more often than not, they are adding to what is available to you, and more often than not, they are adding that into existing SKUs at no extra cost. And there you have it, some myths debunked. As ever, this is only my opinion. Feel free to let me know yours. But if you do, please be kind. Don't be sarcastic. Don't be impolite. I've had overwhelmingly positive comments in the comment sections of video on this channel in recent times. But as the channel has grown, I suppose it's an occupational hazard. I've had one or two what you might call trolling responses in reply to some of my videos, being very sarcastic, being unkind at times. And if you feel the need to do that, please think twice, because it's not very nice. It's not very helpful. If this video is not for you, then don't watch it. There you go. Anyway, we're going to wind up the video there. If you have liked this video, if you have found it insightful, useful, give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, and that helps me so much you have no idea. If you've not subscribed, and most of my viewers have not, I think I'm still in the 80% of viewers of the channel who are not subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button and do it now. Hit it, because it's free, and why wouldn't you? It takes a second and it helps me so much. So you'll be doing a really good deed by doing that. And if you don't want to miss a video, hit the notifications bell at the same time. You can also hit the join button to see the levels of membership available. Membership gets extra perks. This is kind of like the example of Microsoft adding add-on licenses, if you like. So for a little bit of a donation to the channel, as low as 99 pence per month, you can get members-only videos and members-only posts and polls, that sort of thing. And I'm always looking to add more value. So do please check it out and help me to grow this channel. Do more videos, do better videos, improve all the time, and reach a wider audience. Okie dokie, we'll leave it there. Thank you for your time, your support, your likes, your subscribes, your memberships. It's appreciated. And I just hit the microphone. Okie doke. Right. Stay safe, travel well, take care of yourselves, and enjoy your day. I'll see you again in another video really soon. Bye-bye.